Hi everyone. I wanted to touch base this week with a brief instructional video, which I hope will clarify what I'm noticing is a bit of confusion surrounding some of the major assignments in this class. Some of you seem like you're not confused, but as I read through the annotated bibliographies, I started to realize that some people were combining assignments, namely, you were combining your literacy reflection and definition essay with your profile essay. And those are two really different assignments, even though they're both about literacy. And we're also about to add a third assignment this week, which is called the literacy exhibit. And I'm afraid with throwing this third assignment into the mix, that might just make things more confusing. I think this is happening for a couple of reasons, one of which is because the entire course focuses on literacy, or what I like to call writing about writing. In a writing class, that's what we study. So I think that the sort of the heavy theme around literacy causes some of the confusion. I also think some of the confusion just stems from this being an online class and it's harder to communicate. It's harder for me to check in with you guys on a weekly basis and make sure that everyone's clear on what's going on. And finally, I think some of the confusion stems from the fact that all these assignments, or well, two of the major assignments rather, are ongoing. You're pretty much for the entire semester, it seems like, working on your reflection and definition essay, as well as the profile. And now with the exhibit in the mix too, that's going to be something you're going to be working on in an ongoing fashion as well. And I do this so you have plenty of time to revise and so you can really focus on the research you're doing, on the theories you're developing in a sustained way. And I think that's really important. But at the same time, I can understand why it might be confusing. So let me sort of break it down for you. I made this diagram, which you can see on the screen right now. First, we have the course theme, which I've already talked about. This is the overarching idea that the course is based on. And for us, that's literacy, or like I said, writing about writing. From there, I have designed three major assignments. There's other smaller assignments, as you guys already have realized, but there's three major assignments at the heart of this class. The first major assignment up here on the top of this chart, assignment 1, is the literacy reflection and definition essay. So a good way to think about this essay, and you guys have already written this and revised it. You've submitted it to me, you've submitted it to your peers, and you're going to submit it again to me for your final due date at the end of the course. But the best way to understand this essay is that it's about your experiences, your ideas, and there's no outside research required. Some of you might opt to do outside research, but it's certainly not a requirement. You're working to discuss your own experiences and use that to develop a theory of literacy. So that is one major assignment. Another major assignment that you're working on right now, big time working on right now, is your literacy profile. Now, this is the one that is a heavily researched academic essay. It requires the interviews, it requires analysis, it requires a meaningful use of secondary sources, largely found through UMSL's library. You have already been super involved with this assignment because you've done your interview summaries, you've done your annotated bibliographies as well. So you're well on your way with your literacy profile. You've gotten lots of feedback from me on it, and soon you'll be getting feedback from your peers as well as more feedback from me as you actually start to draft the profile. So that's really important, and the literacy profile is our biggest assignment in this course. But note, it's a completely separate assignment from your literacy reflection and definition essay. Quite different entirely. Now, it is also due towards the end of the course. You'll turn it in for the final due date on that will be during finals week. So again, it's the ongoing and revising nature of the assignment, which I think is really good for learning, but which could cause some confusion, admittedly. So the final assignment that we're bringing into the mix this week is right over here to the right in the blue square, and that is assignment 3, the literacy exhibit. So what I want to really emphasize about this in assignment 3, and I'm going to kind of scroll down here a bit so you can see the arrow. Assignment 2, the profile, and assignment 3, the exhibit, these two are super related. They're separate assignments, but they also are related. And that's because with the exhibit, you're still going to be working with the research you did for your profile and the ideas you're developing in your profile. But with the exhibit, well, it's an exhibit. Your profile is a paper, it's an academic essay, it's for an academic audience, it's quite scholarly. As you move into the exhibit, I'm asking you, hey, you've kind of thought about this in a scholarly way. Now I want you to think about how you would share what you're learning through your profile research with a public audience, like an audience that might be, typical visitors at a museum. And in doing that kind of, exhibit of the research that you've done, you'd want it to be pretty engaging. So I'm requiring you guys to use Prezi, which is a presentation software, and it's really easy to insert videos, to insert photos, to insert audio. So your exhibit is going to look quite different than your profile. I mean, it's going to look entirely different, but it is connected to your profile in that it's based on some of the same ideas and research that you're doing there. You don't have to include all of it in the exhibit. You'll probably narrow it down and pick something that you think seems especially engaging to focus on, but it is related, yet at the same time, it's very separate. It's a separate format. It's a separate grade in the course. So remember that those two are definitely overlap, but they're also each their own assignment. So I think that hopefully this graph kind of breaks down for you the three main assignments in the class and how, yes, they are all interrelated, but at the same time very separate, and you're graded on each of them separately. So I know that for some people this has been more confusing, and for some of you it's like, oh, this is old news, but hopefully as this little video ends, you feel better about it. And if you were confused, you're not as confused anymore. I will say that the best way to kind of get your head straight about this, if you still want more information, is to go back and read the prompts for each of these assignments. I have really detailed assignment prompts, and I think everything is laid out quite clearly there. The other thing you could do, of course, always is to shoot me an email or give me a call in my office or come to my office hours or set up an appointment. Whatever works for you, I'm around, and I'm happy to talk through all of this with you in a more detailed way. So don't hesitate to get in touch. I'm really not at all intimidating, and I would love to talk to any of you about your work. So I'm going to conclude this video now, and I appreciate you listening, and I hope that it's been helpful.